Villapoto, Townley, the champion versus a challenger. The Monster Pro Circuit teammates are right back where they started the AMA Motocross season, dead even in the point standings. At the halfway mark, it's a short 6-race sprint series to the end. This week, the battle moves to Lakewood, Colorado, where Villapoto will try to regain the points he lost in Unadilla. The motocross lights go mile high next on Speed. The 2007 AMA Toyota Motocross Championship moves to Colorado for round 7, the Toyota Trucks Thunder Valley National. Hi everybody, I'm Ralph Shaheen alongside multi-time National Motocross Champion Jeff Emig. And we got some beautiful racing weather here in Colorado, but Jeff, we've also got some very thin altitude.
Yeah, and that is going to be a problem for the machines here. We take a look at Ben Townley, tied with Ryan Villapoto in points for first, but getting back to the machine as the engine tends to run hotter, makes the fuel boil, all kinds of problems for the race teams.
Let's take a quick look back at last week's race in Unadilla, New York. Lots of issues with rocks in the radiator.
Yeah, talking about coolant, first lap of the first moto, Ryan Villapoto gets a rock in the radiator, DNF.
Going on to moto number 2. There goes Villapoto with the national championship number 1 plate, and he takes the win in moto number 2. Townley takes the overall, and we go down to the points. And boy, what a battle we've got. The two Monster Energy Pro Circuit guys tied atop the standings.
I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better in a championship battle like this. Halfway point, who's going to win it?
Well, we're going to go right now to Aaron Bates with a Progressive Direct pre-race report.
As this battle heats up in the Lights Championship, a return of one of the Pro Circuit Kawasaki riders, Brett Metcalf. Brett, great to see you back. What a season it's been for you. Not only did you miss your Supercross season, but you came in the first round of Nationals, got a 5th overall, and then you end up breaking your thumb the second round. And you've been sitting on the sidelines watching your teammates battle for this championship. What's been going through your head?
Man, just trying to get back. Just wishing I was out there, but you know, I'm finally back here to Colorado and happy to be here and just having a good time. And you know, I just want to go out there and have a good race.
Now, rumors and speculations of everything that's been going on for next year's season. Contracts are on the line right now. Where do you sit as far as 2008 goes?
You know, right now I'm still talking to this team. I'd love to stay here. That's where I want to be, but you know, my main focus right now is to go out there and race. You know, I've done one race this whole year, so got nothing to prove. So let's just get out there, do some racing, have some fun, and get some results.
Well, I tell you what, I think Brett has the right attitude, and what he has to do is take it race for race, and if he goes out and performs like he can, he will get that contract that he wants for next season.
Well, it's taking out the highlights from moto number 1 here in Lakewood, Colorado. As the gate dropped, keep your eyes out for Chris Gosler taking the early lead as we go on board with our Honda onboard camera.
Well, and the ever so powerful Pro Circuit race team, known for having the fastest machines out on the track, it gets another hole shot where horsepower seems to be sparse here in Colorado.
Josh Grant in second on the red Honda, number 24. One rider went down and then gets hammered. Jason Lawrence getting picked off by a couple of bikes as they go by. That's got to be a scary moment.
Well, it is, especially when you get hit in the back, and Jason Lawrence, I believe, doesn't wear a back protector, so I think it was real fortunate that he didn't have any injury there.
Villapoto and Townley going at it, running around and over each other.
Yeah, and Villapoto was just going for it at that point. Went over the barriers on the inside of the track there. Fortunately, didn't take himself or his teammate out.
Both of them trying to chase Grant down at this point. Villapoto on the inside. Remember, he's got the red number 1 plate for the national championship in this class last year. Townley with the 101.
And you can see the lines in the track here. They've really mixed in a lot of soil. It was typically like a harder clay surface, but the track promoters Thunder Valley really did a great job at the track this year.
And there's a mistake that cost Townley second place.
So we had 2 of the Pro Circuit riders going over the tough blocks of hay bales right now. Townley not being able to keep it on 2 wheels.
A little later on in the moto, Brett Metcalf out front doing what he has to do to keep that ride at Pro Circuit. but then Villapoto gets around Josh Grant for second.
And just like Villapoto always does in the first moto, he just comes out swinging, totally on fire this moto. Just rides so aggressive in that opening moto each and every round.
And then a little further on into the moto, and Villapoto catches and passes Metcalf for the lead. And that was a great move by Villapoto. Then here comes Townley after Josh Grant.
Same corner as where Villapoto went around the outside of him. Ben Townley makes the exact same move.
So Townley getting around Grant. That puts Grant back to 5th. And Townley up to 4th. And here is Ryan Villapoto on his way to the checkered flag. He wins moto number 1. And Townley would battle all the way back to 2nd before the moto was over. Well, Villapoto gets to win, Jeff, and Townley finishes 2nd as you take a look at our Toyota Trucks results. But Townley actually ran very well.
And that was so important in this championship chase. If you're not first, to at least be 2nd, still has the opportunity to win the overall.
Here's Aaron with our winner.
After radiator problems last weekend, he was looking for some redemption this weekend. And Ryan, so far you've been able to do just that. Coming out first moto swinging, did you expect to be able to do so well in this elevation?
Yeah, I won last year here, and I think I went 1-1, and I really like the track, so I just had to come back from what happened last weekend and try to get some wins and get my points lead back up again, so I don't have to go down to the last race and battle it out.
Beautiful countryside here in the Lakewood, Colorado area, and we're getting set. We'll have moto number 2 when we come back to the Toyota Trucks Lakewood National. Number 1 in motorcycle insurance. And by the all-new 2007 Tundra, the truck that's changing it all. Did you miss any AMA racing action? Want to relive the excitement? Watch all the 2007 AMA Supercross and Superbike events on Speed On Demand online. And it's all free, courtesy of Yamaha. So log on now to speedtv.com, keyword Yamaha, and get up to speed. Fans getting ready, racers getting ready. Jason Lawrence had some trouble getting hit in the back in moto number 1. He's getting ready to go at it again here in moto number 2. Billy Laninovich making an appearance.
Good to see Billy back, and getting back to the 338 is that Jason Lawrence has said if he could start up front with the leaders, that he thinks he can win the moto. See if he's got it here in the second moto at Lakewood.
Here's the format: 40 riders in the gate, 2 motos, 30 minutes plus 2 laps. Top 20 will score points. Let's check in with Aaron Bates for Progressive Direct pre-race report.
You can expect the number 101 of Ben Townley to be riding with a little additional speed this weekend, and if you wonder why, it's because he's got all of his family and friends here from New Zealand. Grandma and Grandpa flew over, making the trek to support their grandson, and Dad, well, it was a complete surprise when he showed up, knocking on his bedroom door, asking him to go for breakfast on Saturday morning.
I tell you, that is an awesome support crew that he's got there. We'll see if it can help propel him to the overall here in Lakewood.
As you take a look at our Suzuki starting grid, Jeff, we talked a little bit about the thin air here in Lakewood. What kind of things will these guys be doing to the bikes?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that they're going to have to do with the bikes, but the main thing is to control the heat coming off of the engine to where that it doesn't boil the gasoline, makes the bike cut out. We all know, anybody that's ridden a motorcycle, you know that's not good.
Looking at the gate, did you see a gate pick you thought would be better than another?
Not particularly. I think that this is a pretty fair start.
And it looks like Villapoto is going to get the whole shot. On board Ricky Renner with a Honda onboard camera.
You can see they put down quite a bit of moisture. A lot of roost coming up there when you don't get that good start, and that's why it's always an AMA motocross competition so important to get the whole shot, keep them goggles clean, have a successful second moto.
Townley and Grant running second and third.
You know, Grant's been really good this year at starting up front. Sometimes he hole shots, but if he doesn't get the hole shot, he's right there inside the top 5, and that does a lot for your confidence and for the foundation for your career and for next season or even the races in the future. Helps build that extra little bit of confidence.
You know, if it wasn't for the 2 Monster Pro Circuit guys, Josh Grant would be having a heck of a season.
I tell you, he would have won a lot of motos here, but You know, that's the deal. Everybody lines up, and these are the guys that you have to beat.
Villapoto wiping the goggles free of dirt as we go back to our progressive direct hole shot.
And this one is Villapoto's all the way. He is so good at that start and just leaning back on the bike and getting maximum traction out of the rear tire. See Townley's right there. Josh Grant on the inside.
Jason Lawrence on the outside. He got a good start, just which he said he needed to have.
Well, let's see how it plays out. We're taking a look at him right now.
He's chasing Chris Gosler. That's Gosler in the green on the 102, Lawrence in the blue on the 338. They're fighting over fourth.
And taking a look at the track here in the second moto, it is definitely getting rough. Look how many lines there is going into that turn. And not only is there all these different lines to choose from, but each line has these hidden bumps in the deep spots and ruts, and it's got bends in it here and there. It's really tricky, very difficult in the second moto to ride a motocross bike.
Gosler spent a lot of time looking over to his left, and that cost him. He was more worried about Lawrence, it seemed like, than just going forward.
Well, that happens sometimes, but Lawrence has been on the gas, and see if he can work his way up to the leaders at this point.
And Gosler's one of those riders that really can't afford to have a handful of bad races. He's fighting for a ride.
Seems like each season Chris Gosler is fighting for his ride, and each season he keeps getting another ride because of his work ethic and because of his determination. But at one point or another, you have to win racing, you have to win championships to keep that going.
He is definitely a determined young man as we watch Villapoto now fighting through those ruts with Townley closing in.
Talk about determination. These two riders have just set themselves apart almost from everyone in the class, but I have to think that these two riders in the next year or two in the Premier class are going to be battling Stewart and all the other stars of the Premier class for those championships too. So such a bright future for these two champions. But man, they are just deadlocked in an incredible championship battle this year.
Villapoto out in front of Ben Townley here in moto number 2. Starting to get offline a little bit there too.
I tell you, I really like the way Ben Townley's been riding of late. He just seems to be doing it easy.
We'll be right back to Lakewood after this.
California Speedway. It's everything California.
There's Ryan Villapoto, who has led this one since the gate dropped. His teammate, Ben Townley, continues to chase him. They are tied, dead even in the point standings. Villapoto trying to hold on to the championship he won last year. Townley trying to take it away from him.
And these riders locked up in points. They ride the same bikes, right, for the same race team, wear the same gear, helmet, goggles, all that, but they're two very distinct riders. You watch Ryan Villapoto, he's a little bit shorter than Ben Townley, and he seems to ride with all this aggression, and when you watch him, it seems like he is letting it all hang out, okay? So he's a very exciting rider to watch. Ben Townley, on the other hand, is very methodical, seems very smooth, is standing on the pegs a lot. Villapoto tends to sit down a little bit more, but they somehow come together with the same lap time and are always, joined at the hip when it comes to winning these races.
Well, everybody has always said that Villapoto there on the number 1 is a mini-me version of Ricky Carmichael, not only in looks but in style. So who does Townley remind you of?
Well, Townley is one of those riders that I believe that he finds his speed from finding more comfort, okay? So the more that he stands on the bike...
Oh, down goes Villapoto, and right in front of Townley.
And that could be another one of those situations where Ryan Villapoto was just letting it hang out, just really on the gas, trying to gain that extra little bit of time and pull away from Ben Townley. Made a slight mistake, and that's going to cost him.
Oh, that's going to cost him huge. Let's go back and take a look at it.
Watch Villapoto on the inside, gets a little sideways, and the rear end slides out on him. And now he was actually about a foot inside of the main line, and the rear wheel slid down into the main line. Watch him here, watch it slide out on him.
And he was looking right away to see where Townley was.
Yeah, it's because if Ben Townley was following him into that line, he would have ran right over it.
This is just a reverse of what happened in moto number 1, where Townley crashed and Villapoto was able to get the win. Now let's see if Villapoto can chase Townley down. The difference here is Villapoto only dropped to second. He's still in front of Grant, who's in third. Townley in moto number 1 dropped all the way to 10th, battled back to second.
But now how important is that second place ride that Ben Townley had in the first moto? Because in the event of a 2-1, 1-2, they'll tie in points. The winner of the second moto gets the edge.
Which would be Townley if he can hang on for the win here. And Villapoto knows that. And so he's going to be charging.
Yeah, Villapoto is going to be on the gas now. He is not afraid to let it hang out, and he doesn't like to give up any wins, especially when he's battling for a championship with his teammate here. This is going to be a good race.
Now, if you're Townley, what you want to do is you got to stay controlled, but you need to try to break away.
Well, I think Townley seemed pretty comfortable where he was at running that pace. I think he knows that Ryan probably has a little bit more speed left in him, but you don't want to blow it. Townley, former world champion, AMA Supercross Lights champion. He knows how to get it done, and he's definitely a mature rider. Not going to make any mistakes at this point.
Working his way around, picking his line. And picking your line around this place is getting tougher as the day goes on.
Well, there is so many lines to choose from, and the track is changing quite a bit as we take a look at Matt Gorky on the Boost Mobile Yamaha.
And he's racing with Andrew McFarland on that yellow number 30. McFarland is going to take 7th away from Gerke. And Gerke, Jeff, was a big part of the East Coast Lights Championship fight in Supercross this year.
About 75% of that championship, he was in it for the title. Just at the end, he slipped back a little bit.
So speaking of slipping back, he slides back one position here. Meanwhile, up front, Villapoto sitting in 3rd now behind Josh Grant. So Grant has picked him up. It looked like Villapoto got way wider, maybe off his line again a little bit. Maybe he's struggling to find his rhythm again.
Well, that's what we've talked about so many times this year, is that how Villapoto is not afraid to ride a very wide line and try to find some extra momentum. And he's always looking for new lines. He knows that if he's behind the rider in front of him, he's going to have a problem passing him. So he really searches out, tries to make something happen.
Meanwhile, every time he loses a position like that, it's going to cost him more points in the championship fight, which he really can't afford as tight as this one is.
Well, I tell you what, at this point of the moto, if I'm Ryan Villapoto, I am disappointed that I fell with the lead. But even if he gets a second in this moto, he'll give up the overall Townley. He doesn't lose any points. They're still tied. So when you're in that championship battle, as long as you don't lose any points, that's a good day.
This one's probably going to come down to which rider makes the least amount of mistakes between now and Glen Helen at the end of the year.
Well, I tell you what, though, Ryan Villapoto and Ben Townley, unbelievable champions and competitors, and whichever rider wins this and whichever rider gets second, it's still been a great series, and they are the bright stars of the future.
Boy, Villapoto almost made another mistake there, Jeff. He landed right on top of the crest of that jump, and it threw that bike sideways, but he was able to reel it back in that time. Moto number 2 continues when we come back.
Say Power Sports ATV Tour champions.
Welcome back to Lakewood, Colorado. Ralph Shaheen alongside Jeff Hemmig and Aaron Bates here covering the action down on the track for us. Josh Grant runs in second on the Sobe No Fear Samsung Honda. Ryan Villapoto sits in 3rd, and this man, Jason Lawrence, closing it in 4th.
And we've seen Villapoto take a look back right there over one of those big tabletops. He's trying to get past Josh Grant, but he's seen Jason Lawrence coming up behind him. We know these two have history, so he's definitely going to try to put on a little extra effort here and get by.
Well, here's why Villapoto's back in 3rd and not in the lead. Crashing out of the lead with his teammate Ben Townley right on his heels. And then watch this right here. That's what we're talking about just before we went to break. That could have been a huge mistake for Villapoto.
And it's got to be so frustrating for Villapoto at this point, because right now he's having trouble getting past Grant, and he really seems to be off his rhythm at this point, whereas in the first moto, he was just dialing in. Now, he's taking a lot of roost on with the goggles. We've seen him pulling the tear off. He's got Lawrence catching up, yet he can't really seem to find a way past Grant. Moto is not going as he planned.
He's definitely turned up the intensity, though.
There's no doubt about that. With Jason Lawrence really pressuring him from behind, he's going to have to do something here quick.
Really onto the backside of Grant now.
And Grant putting in a fantastic ride here in the second moto. I mean, Villapoto has been the fastest guy all day, and he is definitely holding his own.
For a guy who's really under a lot of pressure, Grant is not making any mistakes. It's as if he doesn't even realize there's somebody behind him. So focused on what's ahead of him, but that's what you have to do. We've seen earlier today with Gosler and with Villapoto a little while ago, looking over the shoulder, you really have to focus on what's in front of you.
Well, it seems like Grant, being a veteran of this lights class, that is comfortable in the position where he's at. I think he knows that Villapoto's going to race him clean, that, you know, Villapoto's in this for the championship. There's not going to be any funny business going on, so just good, clean racing at this point, and these guys are putting an incredible effort right now.
And that seems like such a simple thing to say, just focus on what's in front of you, but when you got a guy hot on your heels, that's tough to do.
Well, we've seen a lot of growth from all three of these riders here when I'm talking about Grant and Villapoto trying an outside line, and Jason Lawrence, is that, you know, these guys have been very controversial in their passes and in their behavior on the track.
And now one goes to Villapoto. He finally gets around Grant and puts a little bit of distance and a rider between him and Jason Lawrence.
What I was going to say is it's great to see these riders mature, you know, as competitors and really put on some good racing.
You can still see Lawrence right behind them on the blue and white Yamaha. Let's go back and take a look at this, Jeff.
Just using a little more aggression, a little more momentum on the inside. Villapoto just slips by before that tight left-hander.
Gets the bike stopped, turned, and headed back in the other direction. And boy, he is starting to pull away from Grant Lawrence now, isn't he?
And look at Jason Lawrence pulling a tear off. His fitness seems to be great at this point. He's been very strong in the second motos all season, especially of late.
And here in the high altitude, boy, that can really take a toll on you getting ready for that second moto.
Yeah, we talked a little bit earlier about the bikes, how there seems to be you know, issues and things that you have to prepare on the bike. But as far as the fitness for the riders, I think they're all in the same boat. I think they all feel the effects of the altitude, but there's not any way that you can prepare for that unless you head to the mountains. Maybe join on the Tour de France for a week or so while they're in the Alps and then come back and race the motocross.
Townley continues to lead here in Lakewood, Colorado. Townley doing everything he needs to do to keep this championship chase alive and one of the best of the year. And scooters. Do you live and breathe motorcycle racing? Now you can get the latest race results and news right on your phone with weekly green alerts from Speed. Text KX to 773333 on your mobile phone to receive free motorcycle racing text alerts. Speed Green Alerts, presented by Kawasaki. Back to the action here in Lakewood, Colorado, and Ben Townley continues to lead. Family and friends traveling all the way over from New Zealand to see this young man ride, and he's given them quite a show worth those long hours in the plane.
There is no doubt right now, Ben Townley is so dialed in, and when you watch him ride here, he stands on the pegs, and he's just been so fluid here today, really paying off.
Battle for third gets to be a good one as Jason Lawrence goes wide, cuts back, and takes third almost from Josh Grant. I thought he was going to pull it off, but Grant was able to come back and hang on for now.
Just a tug of war going on right now for this position. One rider started up front, one was a little further back, and now they come together.
Lawrence, he carried so much speed around the outside and cut it back beautifully. But boy, Grant just found another way to hold him off. There goes Villapoto. He holds down second.
And this is the point of the moto where you really have to dig deep, and your desire and your determination come into play.
Going wide goes Grant, and cutting back on the inside is Lawrence, and that time he played it perfectly.
What a great move. Jason Lawrence just had him set up from 2 turns before that.
Grant not done, though. One of the best battles for a position so far today.
Jason Lawrence finally makes it stick.
Lawrence starts to pull away. We take a look at the replay.
Now see Ralph, he's coming down on the right-hand side. He's already got this set up. Mentally, he already had this set up 30 seconds ago. Knew that there was an inside groove. Just grabs it right there. Then it's a drag race. You can see, just got a wheel on him. Takes the line away from Grant.
Very nicely done. Clean pass by Jason Lawrence to take over third here in moto number 2. Now here is our leader, Ben Townley, about 17.5 seconds out in front.
Look at how Townley just standing on the pegs around that sweeper. If you look at his arms and his shoulders, just very relaxed. At this point, he is dialed in as any rider can get on a motocross bike.
Villapoto sits behind him, and then Lawrence and Grant come after them. Here's Villapoto.
Coming through that same section, two totally different choices of lines. Villapoto kind of going on the inside, squaring it off, getting back to the inside. Townley just seemed to have a nice arc, a nice radius around there. And that's, at this point, it looks like that Townley's line choice is what's making the difference.
Villapoto, the winner of moto number 1, taking a look over his shoulder mid-flight to see where Grant and Lawrence are.
Already put a gap between Grant and Lawrence. He's in a comfortable second position. Right now he knows that what he has to do is just keep it on 2 wheels, go ahead and accept the fact that the overall is out of the question for today, but I haven't lost any points. Still frustrating for Villapoto to give up that lead and give up the overall and that possible 3 points difference.
One thing that has not come into play into this championship fight, and it's a credit to the Monster Energy Pro Circuit team, is neither one of the riders, Villapoto or Townley, have had any kind of mechanical issues that would affect this championship.
Yes, nothing, performance related. Villapoto had the rock in the radiator, but wasn't a performance related thing. It's been pretty incredible, and I tell you, as the summer goes on here, this is going to be one of those premier lights championships.
Ryan Dungey is down, the Makita Suzuki rider.
And it looks like he's taking the bike out of gear. It doesn't look like that he's trying to get on anytime soon. Shaking his head. Might be an issue with this Suzuki.
He was 4th in moto number 1. And Dungey out of moto number 2, while Townley works his way towards the checkers here in Colorado.
Do you ever have trouble getting yourself into gear?
We're back to the action with Motocross Lights moto number 2 with the AMA Toyota Motocross Series and Ben Townley on that number 101. Out front here and leading, working his way to the checkered flag and picking up another overall win.
Out front and comfortable at this point. It's just put on a textbook ride here, the second moto. Not to mention his teammate, Ryan Villapoto, having the lead, falling out, giving him a little gift, but he's definitely made the most of it.
Well, they both did that to each other, but it's a bigger hit for Villapoto to fall in moto number 2 and for Townley to get the win there based on the way the points work out. Andrew McFarland battling with Chris Gosler.
McFarland working his way up front. Gosler starting a little bit further ahead of him. Good battle, though, between both these riders.
Boy, look at the size of the ruts through there.
Very, very difficult to work your way through those. And as the day wears on, some of them they change and they get some really huge holes in them.
That's Tommy Hahn on the red 52 battling with Matt Gerke. Hahn gets around Gerke, so we'll put Hahn now into 9th.
I have absolutely no idea where Gerke was going there. He just went outside, and then outside once he got past again, really didn't put up much of a fight at all.
Well, maybe as you said, the altitude fatigue starting to set in for some of these riders late in the race.
Could be the case, yeah.
Hard to stay focused.
Tommy Hahn, though, still putting on a hard charge here late in the second moto. Kind of had an up and down season, had some real bright spots, that's for sure.
Did you spend much time racing in high altitude, Jeff? I know way back in the day when you were running, there wasn't a national here in Colorado.
Yeah, we didn't have a national during my time, but I did attend the Motocross National here in 1988. The only thing I remember other than Rick Johnson just really being super fast is that I had poison oak all over my body and I was very uncomfortable.
Oh, well, nothing's uncomfortable for Ben Townley right now.
Definitely, he is in his comfort zone and got to be happy with the way that this day is turning out.
Well, there you see Townley, but the guy behind him is scratching his way towards the front. And, of course, Villopoto, he's itching to get up there, Jeff.
And all Ben Townley has to do at this point is keep it out of the weeds all the way to the checkered flag, and he will be victorious today.
All right, that's enough of the poison ivy lines, huh? All right, let's get back to the racing. Moto 2 winding down, and Townley, the winner at Unadilla, the last round, looking to take the overall here again. I don't really see either one of these riders between Townley and Villopoto having any kind of an edge over the other one either. I really think it's going to come down to which one makes the least amount of mistakes.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And so when Ryan Villopoto looks back on today that he has that mistake here in the second motor where he gives up the lead and potentially the overall, could be at the end of the season he's looking back that is one that he would like to have back.
Did you find it was easier sometimes to make a mistake in moto number 1 as opposed to moto number 2? I mean, I know that sounds kind of silly to say, but moto number 1, it's always, is it easier just to get it out of the way, kind of?
Well, if you make the mistake in moto number 1, then you always have a chance of redeeming yourself in moto 2, and then you've got 6 days of confidence until the next race. Ryan Villopoto, he's just going to be boiling for 6 days, and so we will have another opportunity once we hit Washougal to try to win another overall.
That's a good point, and of course for Villopoto, Washougal in his home state, a little added pressure there as well.
Yep, it is going to be a great rest of the season here. As you see Ryan Villopoto trying to maneuver his way through the left riders. Definitely wants to keep it clear. Can't afford another mistake at this point. See him looking back, trying to see where Grant and Jason Lawrence are, seeing how much energy he needs to conserve or how easy he can take it at this point.
It looks like Villopoto's pretty much going to just run out of time. He's running well, but Townley just not making any mistakes up front, not giving him a chance to open that door. So Villopoto continues to pound around here in Lakewood, and we're coming right back, headed towards the finish. Jeff, this is a motocross circuit that's come back on to the AMA calendar, and I think everybody's really happy it's here.
Well, all of the local people have really supported this event. I know my good friends from Podium Marketing and Toyota Trucks have put a huge effort into this event, making it possible. And it's definitely paying off because the riders love the race course.
Ben Townley certainly liking it today. Fell in moto number 1, came back from about 10th to end up 2nd. And on his way to a win here in moto number 2 and the overall. How much different do you think this track is since it's back on the tour now from when it was here some 20 years ago?
Well, it's been reconfigured quite a bit. It used to just run up and down the hills, and now it's kind of up and down and all around. And a lot more jumps in it now, a lot more tabletops, airtime, but track looks like they've had just an excellent preparation. And like I said, the riders really enjoy it, and I think that it's it's extremely challenging along with being fun.
Villopoto continues to ride in 2nd. We're going to see another new track later this year. We're going to Texas.
That's right, Ralph. We'll be going to Freestone Raceway. The Miller family actually owns that. Clayton Miller, a pro racer. So you know it's going to be a great track design.
Jason Lawrence on the 338. Running along in 3rd. And this is a guy, Jeff, who's not known for his training regimen, but boy, is he really showing he's got the stamina and the durability to run with these guys in some of the most adverse conditions, altitude-wise, that they'll see all year.
Well, I think, he's doing his work during the week. Nobody succeeds at this level without doing the work, and each week he gets a little bit better. So he went back to New Jersey, got out of California. It seems like he's really got focused here and turned the season around.
Andrew McFarland having a pretty good day, battling inside the top 10. He's up to 8th. 30-year-old rider out of Australia, chasing the younger Chris Gosler, who's fighting for his ride this year. The Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki rider had a bumpy year in Supercross. had a great season last year, and everybody thought maybe he had turned the corner, and it kind of slipped back a little bit on him this year.
Yeah, well, getting back to McFarland here, he didn't even have a Supercross series, broke his upper arm before the championship started, so it's so tough to come back as everybody else is in the rhythm, their fitness is good, and as you can see, as the summer wears on, Andrew McFarland, who is just an incredible talent, is getting his fitness up to the proper level, and also working together with that Rockstar Suzuki team, getting the bike dialed in, and really having some great results here.
And that's going to be one rider who's going to hate to see the season come to an end, because McFarland just finding his groove. Of course, the one thing about motocross is it never does really end, does it? It just kind of rolls right back into the Supercross season.
Yeah, very, very short off season for these riders. And one thing about motocross is that to be dialed in on the bike and to be comfortable, for some reason, you have to ride all the time. I'm talking 4 days a week, 30 minutes to an hour at least every day. So a lot different than other forms of motorsports where maybe you only drive or ride, your race machine during testing or in the race or in qualifying. With these riders, you have to be on the bike all the time.
It's sure paying off for Ben Townley. And what a story Townley is, really, when you stop and think about it. His parents moving from New Zealand to Australia, taking him over there to Germany to get him really off and running. And when they came back and saw him again, things had changed a lot, hadn't they?
Well, quite a bit, and the major change with Ben Townley is that he joined up with Ricky Carmichael's trainer, Alden Baker, and he is in top physical condition. I mean, he is lean and mean winning machine at this point.
Alden Baker has turned a lot of folks into that. Not only Ricky Carmichael, but Nicky Hayden, working in NASCAR as well now with Jamie McMurray. Alden Baker, one of the top trainers in professional sports. We're coming right back to Colorado for the finish. Colorado. Ben Townley working his way towards the overall win here today, and a big boost of confidence towards the championship fight.
And Ben just out on a Sunday cruise here, late Sunday afternoon, up in the Rocky Mountains. Ryan Villapoto, he's cruising at this point, but inside, he is on fire because he just gave away the overall and the opportunity to gain 6 points on his teammate. Valuable championship points in this Lights Motocross Championship.
Yeah, because the way this one is going, you can see this coming down to 2 or 3 points at the end of the year.
It very well could be come down to that final moto, and who has the better finish in the final moto at Glen Helen could be the champion. So when it's a tight championship like this, every little point matters, and Ryan Villapoto has got to be a little disappointed, but he only is going to end up tied. He didn't lose any points today. He just didn't gain the points that he potentially could have.
Jason Lawrence having a very good run here today.
Having a little fun there. See him ride with his leg off. Extremely talented rider, has a great riding style. Had some great motos here. He's yet to win a moto this season, and I think that Jason Lawrence is at the point now where, okay, you've had good motos, you've shown that your fitness is good. Now, when are you going to do it? Well, I mean, if I'm the Boost Moto Yamaha team, hey, now's the time to pull the trigger and really let it all hang out and try to win a moto.
So what's the difference? Is it the only thing holding him back the bike, or just one little bit more ounce of determination / aggression kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it's just a combination of a couple of small things. I don't think it's a large combination. Just, I think if he gets that start and really lets it all hang out, maybe Townley and Villapoto get into their own little battle. Jason Lawrence could take advantage of something like that, but I think that he's at the level where it's time to do it.
And once he does that, he could probably click off a couple of wins after that. Here's Townley circulating around, waving to the crowds and all the family that made their trip over.
And how great does that got to be for him to take the overall here today with all that family support? This is going to be a large celebration in the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki pits after this.
And this will be the 4th win for Townley. Villapoto has 2 wins this year. Josh Grant, the only other guy not on a Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki to stand on the top step of a podium at a motocross lights race this year, and that's just amazing.
Yeah, just amazing. And I tell you, the Kawasaki boys have been on fire this season. Can't wait to see how the last 5 races play out.
Nobody wants to rush these guys, but boy, there is so much anticipation and buzz about Townley and Villapoto moving up to the big class to see what they can do as far as giving James Stewart and the rest of the guys something to deal with up there.
I'll tell you, that is a great feeling right now, coming past the finish line, both arms in the air. Victorious Ben Townley.
Checkered flag waves in front of Ben Townley for the 4th time this year, and the championship stays incredibly hot. So Mitch Payton's gang takes another 1-2, this time in Lakewood, Colorado. We'll be right back to talk to the winner.
Michigan International Speedway. It's your speed. With all of your favorite NASCAR
driven motorcycles, scooters, and all-terrain vehicles. And by the all-new 2007 Tundra, the truck that's changing it all. Is the passion for two wheels in your blood? Well, now you can get all the breaking news, in-depth analysis, and more with the Motorcycle Racing Report, only at SpeedTV.com. Keyword Green, presented by Kawasaki. All the riders on the track are AMA members. Are you? If not, call 1-800-AMA-JOIN or visit AMADirectLink.com. AMA writes riding and racing. Ben Townley has a lot of folks to say hi to now back in the pit area. Family and friends making the long trip over. That's his grandfather, his girlfriend, Lucy, giving him a hug. And well, there's Ryan Villapoto taking in a lot of water, trying to cool down the frustration of having made that mistake to cost him the overall here today. Here's our Toyota Trucks unofficial results.
Moto 2, you see Ryan Villapoto, 2nd place, ties his teammate Ben Townley. A lot of hard work in store for this week.
Let's go meet the man who finished in 3rd today, Josh Grant with Aaron.
Well, you can see that fitness isn't a question for Josh Grant. He's barely even sweating coming up here. Josh, this is one of the most physically demanding, especially in the altitude. How was it?
It was good. You know, I got a decent start. I started right behind Ryan. Just made a few mistakes and then started riding real tight. And just had, like, I don't know, some stomach bloating. It just felt kind of weird, but I just stuck my head down and rode as best I could and came out 4th.
Here's our Toyota Trucks overall results. Townley gets to 2-1, and that'll give him the win. Jason Lawrence with a 4th, with a 7 and a 3rd. Here is Ryan Villapoto now.
Ryan Villapoto getting that whole shot, but a little bit of frustration setting in. Ryan, got to ask you, the same tip over in the same corner 2 laps in a row. What went on out there?
Yeah, I just came in there and washed out the first time, and then got up and I was trying to put in a charge and came down there again and just stuffed the front wheel in a rut and I just fell over.
At the beginning of the season, you tried to excel at minimizing any kind of small mistakes like that. It seems as though it sort of occurred again. How important is it for that not to happen at this point of the season?
With my DNF, it put a wrench in the program. Yeah, I need to keep the mistakes down, and hopefully I can be up front and get some points back. So we're tied again.
Well, and here are those points. As you take a look at it now, they went from 263 to 310, but they're still tied.
Just incredible at this point of the season. You could see on Ryan Villapoto's face just how frustrating it was.
Here's our winner.
An emotional overall victory for Ben Townley, making it the 4th victory of the season. Ben, Grandma and Grandpa are in tears supporting you today. What does this win mean to you?
Yeah, it's cool. I've got Mom and Dad here, Nana and Grandpa, my auntie. It's awesome, man. It's so cool to have them all here and to get a win, on a day when they're here is pretty cool. So, man, it was Ryan and I, we're on the limit. We're both riding really hard and mistakes happen when we're going that fast. So just got to say thanks to the whole Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki team. They do a great job and, it's a pleasure to ride for them.
Well, Jeff, now it's on to Washougal.
Well, and at Washougal will be Ryan Villapoto's home track. Maybe he gets a little bit of that boost from having all of his family and friends there and can pull that championship lead back into his direction.
You'll see that one here on Speed August 7th, 3 p.m. Eastern time for the Motocross Lights. Make sure you join us for that because it's going to be an outstanding championship fight to the finish. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Emick, I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long from Lakewood, Colorado, where Ben Townley's won on